Sulman Rahim here, Master of the Covenant, Breaker of 7 Seals. Brothers and sisters, I cannot express this clearly, strongly enough. Fear, unimaginable fear is about to grip America. And it's going to be a shock wave, enough to rock the planet. It's going to be a shock wave that will rock the planet, but it will engulf America and drown America in fear. It will drown America in fear, right? Even extending to Europe. Great fear, unimaginable fear. Men's hearts will be failing in anticipation of the fear. In other words, once they get knowledge of it, aware of it, that it's on the way, because this Russia is coming quick. And once they see evidence of it, just evidence, hasn't hit you yet, there will be strokes and massive heart attacks, epidemic. You don't want to be driving. People have heart attacks right while they're driving. If they become aware of this while they're driving, people have strokes walking across the street. That's how, what you're going to see is people just passing out. Because the shock of the hour would be more intense than anything that you can imagine. The fear will be astronomical. I've been working on, I think I got my sound back up, working on it for several days now. I think I got it working. I don't know how long it's going to work, but I think I got it working. They're desperate, but they cannot stop this. Oh, it was complicated, but I think I got it, so we'll see if we can get through this. Anyway, Gog Magog, the world dictator. I'm going to keep this briefly, well, somewhat short. But understanding, brothers and sisters, as it says in the scripture, right, it says there's time for all things. And we had a time when the evil would rock the planet, evil would rule. Time for all things, evil would rule. And there's some deep wisdom go with that. Because see, we're immortal people. We're people that has always been here, will always be here. I mean, that, you can't imagine that. And they tell you, oh no, see, when we perish, when we die, we don't really perish. I said, all we do is regenerate. And I showed you proof after proof after proof of that. You've been here forever, you've been here forever. See? But the thing is that it's like if you would stay awake all the time and never was able to sleep, it might drive you insane. You want to break. And I probably shouldn't be saying this, but when you put to death, we've been put to death. That's energy deprivation. And so then we're renewed again. It's like we come back new again. And so therefore we maintain our sanity and it's all new all over again. Everything was from the past is forgotten. So you start off new again. It's like refresher. Otherwise, if there wasn't a period like this, you keep going on and on and on and on and on, it'd be pointless after a while. Maybe I should move on. I'm not going to speak to that anymore. But all these things are for a serve a purpose, brothers and sisters. See, you think of death as a bad thing because that's sealed Bible wisdom, right? But no, death is a mercy. It's a blessing. It's like going to sleep. You had a hard day. You're tired. Well, if you couldn't sleep, you'd be, you go insane. You want to sleep so that you can refresh yourself and start over again. And so death is, that's why it says, oh, grave, where's thy victory? Oh, death, where's thy sting? Oh, grave, where's thy victory? Oh, death, where's thy sting? Because the thing is, we need to regenerate into, because the universe is constantly changing. It's not static. If it's static, it'd be a whole different, well, it's constantly changing, right? And we have to keep adapting to that change. And this body, the body we have right now its adaptability is limited. Because when you start out in the beginning, all creatures, every creature you see out there was in us. The Quran tells you that. It says, from one life, all life came. So all that was it. All the genes was turned on. I explained this. All the genes, we have the whole range of genes. We, not everybody else, we. The devils don't have a whole range. We got a whole range from A to Z. They might have from like C to Z. They don't have the whole thing. A gorilla might have like F to Z, right? Or maybe a whale might have R to Z, right? But we had a whole range. It just turned off. We turn it on and off as we move through time. See? So, at this point in time, right? I mean, you regenerate, and so then you have, because as we move back through time, right? We're going to turn all the genes back on eventually until we're back to the beginning again, if you want to call it the beginning. Then as we start, then we start genes off again. Keep changing our form. We have to die to do that. Right? Take 4 birds, teach them to climb to you, put them on all mountains, right? That story. Anyway, so the time of energy deprivation, that was the time evil would reign and was given the power to reign. And no one seems to understand that. And see, the point of the angel, I mean, in the Quran, when we talk about the jinn, that story is a very profound story, and no one understands it. And those of you have been listening to me, if you studied, you had no idea what that meant, not one bit. You had no clue until I told you. And maybe you still don't know. You had no clue what that meant. Because it sounds so, and as soon as you don't know, I mean, they really are. They say Adam was the whole human race. And jinn are some angels that you can't see or whatever. I mean, they're way off base. Everybody's off base. Farrakhan ain't talk about it. I don't think the messenger will talk about it either. Nobody had any clue what that meant. None. Because what the things you have to know? You have to know that how the universe works. You have to you never heard anybody tell you about energy deprivation. You never heard anything like that. What is that? The universe come back in waves. The Quran teaches that. But you know, it comes all of a sudden, right? But how do you say it? It's momentous in heaven and earth, but coming all of a sudden. Say, what is that? Well, you have to know, if you understand math, science, you understand, oh, they're talking about an energy wave. But see, you know any of that. You know energy waves, energy management, energy deprivation, right? You know about the fulcrum, that the justice changes. You think it just was static. But that wouldn't be, if just was static, then why if we're going here, we keep getting more and more and more, we're doing less. That wouldn't be justice, would it? Based on your idea of justice, you can't get no more than what you put in. That means there would be no paradise, because you'd be just like it is right here. And that's where most people think of it. They think this world's going to stay the same way all the time. And you're told that you get blessings. Well, blessings is not justice, is it? Blessings mean you got something that you didn't deserve. That's unjust. So then on the other side, you say God's unjust. He giving you something you don't deserve. See, none of that makes sense unless you understand the math, the underlying math. See? Who the angels? See? He said, you know, and the knowledge that the angels had and they didn't have. And knowledge would be given to Adam. And the jinn. Right? Who are the jinn? You had no knowledge of any of that. Zero. Not even close. And now you may have it now. See? So the things that if you study the angel, and the things that you learned since you've been studying it, it's totally different. Anything you ever heard before, but yet still you know it's right. And if you hope you do. You can't prove it's wrong. And it's a period. Anything you ever heard, you ever heard anything like that. Now you're close. Name from Elijah Muhammad. Okay? So they was given, that was their time. They was given power to rule. And like I said, right, these came out of us. This came out of Ishmael. That was the tribe of Yaqub, was the tribe of Ishmael. They tell you, right? Elijah Muhammad told you that Yaqub was born in the same place Master Muhammad was born. It's in Mecca. We wasn't there at the time. It was in Arabia. It was in what they call Northwest Africa. See? And so they rule. They rule as a dictator. Because, well, I'm not going to into any depth with this, brothers and sisters, but what's a dictator? A dictator? God's a dictator, is he not? See, you don't pay attention to these things. It's not God a dictator. You don't argue with him. He do what you tell him. You do what he tell you to do, or he burn your ass from hell. So what's wrong with dictators? Or they're evil, they're wicked. Well, that's what Satan would say, wouldn't he? Is that what Satan would say? See, you understand what perspective? Because the point is, these people are serving Satan. This is Satan's world. That's why they don't give a name to God, these devils. They say God. But it says, Jesus told them, Satan is the God of this world. Satan is the God they're worshiping. And that's the works they're doing. But that was a time that they were successful in it, because it's like I said, in the winter time, winter wisdom is successful. Summer wisdom will not be successful in the winter time. When the winter time, and they would rule because they're winter people. And we're in the winter time. The winter's coming to an end now. But the point is, we went into a winter cycle, the worst ever, and they're the winter people, and so they rule. And you do what they tell you to do. You said, well, see, we personify everything. So we personify this, right? If you didn't follow the rules of the winter, and nobody tell you, you just didn't follow the rules of the winter, you die. So instead of just that happening, you got somebody telling you that represents that, a being that represents that. See the same thing? If you take, okay, if you a spring person and the winter comes and you don't apply the winter wisdom, you're going to freeze to death. Right? Nobody has to stand there and it's going to freeze. The ice will freeze you. But what if you make the personification, ice and math personification, right? And then you obey that person, personification of winter, you die. Same thing, only you have a personification of that situation. And I know most of you understand that. We give a thing, like all these things happen right now. It's not happening just happenstance. It's mathematics, but we personify the mathematics so you can see it, feel it, touch it. So the devils represents our Holocaust, our energy deprivation. So they're personification of it. So the effect that you would get because energy deprivation comes from them. And that way you control the quality of it. Because we would go energy deprivation and say they weren't there. Then we'd go to energy deprivation, and remember, all these nations had different ways of dealing with it. All these nations had different ways of dealing with it. Right? So the only way you can do that is you have to have element of quality. Otherwise, if it's just winter, everybody just freezes to death. Right? I mean, wherever they are, they freeze, right? But if you got quality, say, well, you freeze this way, you freeze in a snowstorm, you freeze in an ice storm, right? You fall into a lake. That's quality, different ways it would happen to you. If you got it personified, then this person will drown you. This person will freeze you, whatever. But if you don't have personification, like I said, it just happens. You're still going to freeze, but now there's no controlling factor, and we keep control. It says Allah controls everything. We keep everything under control. So by making personification, we say, okay, we want it to happen this particular way. And so therefore, for our purposes, we use it for our advantage. Because if it wasn't for them, we would not have said, let us make man in our likeness. It didn't say, let there be man in our likeness and image. It didn't say, let man be in our, it said, let us make man in our likeness and image. And then, again, you didn't understand pressure, how pressure works, how pressure affects us. That's why you don't understand the story about jinn. Because how do you transform somebody into a better thing? And the only way you can do it is with resistance. And the jinn tell you you're going to live weight. Resistance. That's resistance is pressure. Resistance. So how you apply pressure on pressure? Resistance. And so how would you apply pressure to human beings? Right? You don't just put them in the gym, or you don't just put a stone or something over them. That's pressure. But to what effect? Crush them. So if you want a particular result, you have to put pressure on a specific way. You want a specific result, you have to put pressure on a specific way. Pressure comes in all forms, right? See, you can crack an egg, you can drop an egg, right? You can squeeze an egg. You can pressure all kinds of ways. You get different results depending on how you do it. So you say, well, I want to apply pressure this way. So what do? In that case, if you want to make the paint a better person, you got to apply pressure by another person. You don't put a big rock on the person. Okay, they get stronger if they're lifting weights, right? But if you want them to become a greater human being than they were before, you got to put a being similar to them, and they got to be contrary. And by the more contrary, the more resistance you put on a person, the more pressure on them, and so they would have to, if they had the ability to transform to a higher level. That's why we made Adam, so Adam would make us. He said, well, okay, you got the story right there. Who birthed us as a nation? It's right there. Gog and Magog gave us birth. It's right there. See, you don't pay attention to these stories. See? Was impregnated, right? And they said, can a nation be born in a day? What womb do we come out of? See, there's much stories in there that you don't pay attention to, brothers and sisters. So much stuff in there. See? So use them to give us birth. That womb had, see, because the only way you come in, you have to come through a womb. And that womb put resistance, hold you in there. And so you have to fight, you have to develop in that tight, closed, dark womb. And so therefore, you need them to give us birth. That kind of pressure. Everybody went under the same pressure of the deprivation. Everybody went experienced the same pressure. But they chose different qualities of that pressure. And we chose here to head on a pressure that will cause us to transform, which would be the most result. So that means we have to put him right in the center of the devil, right there in the center of him. So we get a maximum pressure. Everybody went through stuff that. I said everybody gets the same. But the point is they suffer different ways. They didn't get a transformation. And that's what we want. We want to become angels, spiritual angels become gods. That didn't happen to Iblis. That didn't happen to a jinn. They got cursed and everything. It was under pressure, but they did not. And so everyone that did not submit to that pressure will be crushed. We're going to talk about it in a minute. So this was their time. But their time is over now. And that's why it's counterfeit, because they, with their understanding, their knowledge, their level of knowledge, didn't extend beyond. When you get these scriptures, right, you have to have a believer is someone, right? Say, for instance, you go to school, right, and you go into first, second, third grade, right? Well, the person that can learn second grade stuff will able to go to third grade. But if you can't learn second grade stuff, you can't move on. You fail. And that's the difference between a believer and a disbeliever. A believer is someone that can master second grade and they can move to third grade. They still cry, because they can't understand third grade stuff. They can't deal with second grade stuff. Now, the Quran is very critical about that, even the Bible, but the point is from the math, because they deal from emotion, they come to the emotional side about, you want to be punished, like, right? But the point is, the math of it is just tells you, you're a disbeliever, right? You cannot make the grade. You cannot go to the next level, because you'd be crushed if you got to the next level anyway, if you got there. You go to third grade, you can't read, right? Okay, say you learned to read in second grade, but you didn't learn. So now you go to third grade, and you got to read all the time. You can't. You just get crushed. But God can make that big shot because they think this will be like this forever, because they don't understand how the universe works. So they thought they came to power, and so they dictate and they tell everyone what to do. And plus, they think they're good. It says, woe to those who say good is evil and evil is good, because they think they're good because they've been successful. And God sanctioned them. God put them in. And they were good. If you understand what good is. They was good in the sense that they, right, good because they was in sync with the time at that time. That's perfect. But they're out of sync now. So when you're in sync, you're not evil. Evil is when you're out of sync with the universe. And we stay in sync with the universe. We submit. The universe says, okay, the best way you can survive in the universe, you have to submit. Just lay back and let it happen. Right? That's the wisdom for you, for your nature, your identity. If you do that, then you get the benefit from it. And at the same time, they was told, right? You afflict them and everything, you'll be successful. And that's where they got successful. How did they get successful? Taking everything from us, afflicting us and everything else. We was there for slaves and that made them rich by doing what the sealed Bible told them to do. And what you say, oh man, I was yeah, but they did that. Now that time is over. I don't know if you understand that. Well, they were sanctioned. Remember, God put them in charge. He knew they was going to make mission shed blood. So they was righteous until he says, don't touch that tree. It says, then you'll be, unless you be unjust. Did you read, pay attention to that? It says, don't touch that tree unless you be unjust. That means as long as you was enslaving us and serving them and everything else, service and affliction, they were just. But if you afflict us, then you become unjust because then you are beyond, right, your authority. Right? Well, I'm not going to say authority. You went beyond, because they had the authority, right? But you went beyond, how should I say it? That was within, I could say authority, but cross-referencing, they're going to run a problem, but I say that one. It was beyond your purview. I'll leave it like that. In other words, it was beyond the guidance that you was given, put it that way. Because in the sealed Bible, there was no justification for them raping us and all that stuff. That was unjust. They went beyond what the sealed Bible gave them authority to do, put it that way. So at this point, their time ran out in 2020. That's one of the reasons why they want to stop this 1619 project and everything else. Their time ran out. So they're counterfeit power now. But, there's such thing as momentum. Where's momentum? It's a scientific principle. Say you put your foot on the gas. That's acceleration, so you got to make the car move. But then but everything, once you put it in motion, it's going to stay in motion. So in other words, velocity is just motion. Right? So anything you put in motion, stay in motion till and the force acts upon it. And that gets momentum. So you put on and all of a sudden you stop. If there's no force to oppose it, it's going to keep on going, even though it has no power anymore. It's just going. It's not powered anymore, right? Until it hits something, and then it stops because there's no power, right? And that's what's happening right now. They have momentum. They have no power. There's no power. They have momentum. So everybody's thinking, oh man, look how they think how America does this, how bad they are, how tough they are. And so they backing off, say, hey man, we'll mess with them. See, until America hits something. They got little bumps already. They got a bump in Vietnam and Afghanistan. And I started saying, wait a minute, maybe they don't have any power. You start questioning it. But sooner or later, in a minute, they're going to hit a real big bump. It reminds me of a story that this guy, he did the same everything every day. I mean, he just had, it's kind of a joke, right? He did the same thing every day, without fail, every day. I mean, he didn't deviate anything on a job. You knew you could time that guy. Right, he'd get up at the same time, maybe 8:15, go to the bathroom, and then 9, he'd go to get to lunch, and he'd go get a microwave, everything. And then it says one day, right, he died, but his body was in momentum, so he just kept on doing saying, nobody knew the man was dead. He bumped into something. So I don't know. It's kind of funny, but we think about it, he was on momentum. He just kept doing it. Body just kept on doing it. He was dead, but he just kept on. Everybody said, hey, there go Joe, man. He just kept on. I think they went about a few days, and then he bumped into somebody, and then he fell over. They knew that time he was dead. Been dead for a couple of days. And counterfeit. America's on counterfeit, and they're going to find out Master Muhammad is getting ready to bump into him. Okay, I'm going to take a little different tact here. I got my sound, I think I'm working, but I'm not going to this whole situation right here at this point. I'm just going to walk through it, see if I got my sound working, see if I'm stable. And I'm going to talk about something else here, right? I want to talk about pressure. And the jinn, and an angel. So let's just see what happens. First, I want you to just listen to this, brothers and sisters. Hold on, let me see something here. No, not yes. Listen for a minute. Hold on, let me see if I can get this up here. Hope this works. I don't know. Just listen to this for a minute, okay?
Assume, obviously, when the buses are parked overnight, space Monday, and a few hours ago, this is breaking news, Israel averted what would have been, one way to describe it, a mass casualty.
Democracy depends on a free press. Please support our independent journalism at democracynow.org/give. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
Central Israel,
Top diplomats from the United